Tom.
Have you ever met my aide, Al Abatello?
Al Abatello, Bruce Robbins.
Yeah, Bruce. Nice
Good to meet you.
Yeah, same here. It's been a while. I mean, we talked a long time ago.
Mr. Abatello, that's where I recognize your name from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, during Tom's campaign.
Yeah, we had talked about the campaign and different things we needed to do.
Yeah,
I remember.
Exactly. Since then, well, you know what happened. George joining us, or just you and me? And
George is down at Prosser Halleck. He's going through the Esplanade thing and 17,000 acres. It's in your county.
I know. See, what I finally figured out is that we're going to get the buffet. Don't they have the buffet going today?
Yeah, I didn't know what you wanted.
Yeah, let's do that. You know, you're a developer. You develop.
That's what we do.
So we say develop glasses, you develop glasses. If we say develop jelly, you develop jelly. You know, develop a cup.
I always get this from Tom. When I come in, I get an opening lesson. And the opening lesson is something very rudimentary because he knows developers aren't the brightest set of guys in the world.
You're very bright. Bruce, tactically and strategically has helped me more than any other developer.
But still winds up owning him a pizza.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about it. I mean, that's the way it's played, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's an honest-to-God truth. He's a very smart, strategic guy. And that's why I like meeting and seeing him. Getting my update, telling you what I need, and you tell me what you need.
Business
and
is very simple.
And then we're done, aren't we?
And it's a quick meeting.
It is.
It's a quick meeting.
Man, we have more commercial development than you can shake a stick at going on right now.
What's going on with impact fees, though?
No, we'll worry about that. I'll take care of that. I mean, some of the retail stuff it's not in that genre anyway.
I got approached by Ashley Furniture. They want to do a regional distribution center there.
Cool. Well, let's start cracking them. We'll make it work.
Well, it came from your guys.
Fine.
It came from your guys at the Economic Development.
Jim Wheeler, those guys?
Nick brought it in.
We'll make it work.
And they came back yesterday and said, yeah, we want to do the deal. How do we go from here? And I said, well, I'm having a meeting with Tom and we'll find out.
We will make it work. All right? I mean, impact fees, as you know, are a matter of equity. And equity is, you do on the residential side, you have to do on the commercial side. I can't do X on residential and Y on commercial. But there's many ways of skinning the cat.
It's part of the cake deal.
Right. And what we're going to do, I was with the transportation people yesterday. I said, I don't want any goddamn traffic concurrency problems at any of my commercial developments, period. Mm-hmm. Okay? And if a guy is short a couple of trips, well, he'll buy them. So how much is a trip worth?
You got to back into it.
How much is it?
You don't know. How long is a piece of string? You don't know.
Well, let's say the piece of string is 2 miles. And it's 4 lanes. And what's the capacity of the road? I said, this is very simple from my perspective. The road costs X dollars to build. It carries Y amount of traffic. X divided by Y equals the cost of one trip.
Well, you're going back to the Orlando philosophy, which is very simple. Mm-hmm. In Orlando, they take... You meet with the city manager.
Right.
And you say, I want to build this here. Mm-hmm. He says, okay, I've got this guy over here wants to build this guy over here wants to build this, and this guy wants to build this.
Right.
He says, I need a school here, I need roads going here, here, and here.
You guys work it out.
And you guys work it out, come back to me, tell me how you're going to whack it up, tell me when you're going to deliver it. I'll stamp it, and off we go.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do.
And bring me the check for the improvements. Because I don't want to wait on you guys to put them in. I want the money to administrate myself so we can put these improvements in. That is what I see is the biggest thing that the county could adopt, is to take money from, just like us. We're ready to write a $90 million check right at approval. Right. We went to the then county manager and said, here. And he said, no, we don't want it. We can't administrate it. We've got $30 million in our coffers right now that we can't handle. And we went, what?
Yes.
We went, what?
Beyond
you just, please let us write you a check. And he said, no. You guys put the improvements in.
I don't know what your schedule is. When I meet with you, I have plenty of time.
I've got nothing till 3 today.
Because there's a number of things that, besides getting up to speed on where you are and the things that I think that you can help me with and things I'm willing to help you with, Then I want to go to some other things. So why don't we get some food?
I was going to say, let's go to the buffet, and
Yep.
off we go.
So you saw my Mr. Gwinner out there, huh?
Yeah.
I love it.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good today. I know we'll have 3 orange juices, and beyond that, I'm not sure.
3 orange juice?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you guys
Thank
have
you.
more?
There's only 3 of us.
3?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. sir.
You're welcome.
Mario, it's Bruce. Checking in with you. I saw your email on the color quality. I haven't seen it yet, but evidently it's not as bright and vibrant as it needs to be. I'll check in with you later in a meeting right now. But yeah, we got to have it looking good. Also, Clint Murphy wants to know if he can run with some packages on the Dunn project for the upcoming mini ICSC. And I told him, hold off, you're getting ahead of yourself. Need to get you and Mario together, make sure Mario feels comfortable with you doing that. So that's the other purpose of the phone call. Thanks, man. I'll be in touch later. Bye.
Best deal in town, you know that, right?
I've only been here twice. I came here once with Micah was doing a fundraiser last year. I was here then. And one other time just for
What do you think of
grants.
Micah? I think Micah's not doing anything for us.
I looked at
What does
his,
he do for us? What's he done? Nothing.
I look at his district.
Yeah.
Aren't we the tail end or the
Yeah.
head of his district?
Yeah.
So how often, I mean, the bulk of his district is Winter Park, Orlando, is that right?
Yeah, Volusia.
So, you know, being that that's the lion's share of the deal, I mean, where did he come out on the school initiative for North Florida? Was he for that, against that, or was he one of the ones trying to disrupt the advantage that we got recently out of the legislature?
I think he's a disruptor.
You're talking about Micah?
Yeah.
I'm working a lot with Blaylock, Michael Blaylock. I really like Michael.
In Duval County.
Yeah, JTA.
Yeah. No, he's a decent guy.
And he works closely with Corrine Brown.
She's a trip.
She's a bacon bringer.
She's a trip.
Well, I've never met her. She's doing everything I want to do. She's doing right now because of Blaylock.
She's a trip. Let me tell you what.
I don't care.
No. Hear me out.
Yeah.
That lady, 90% of what she does is an act.
Right.
And it's all designed to bring in the money. It's all designed to get her constituents and get her territory what it's needed.
Yep.
And she's honed it over the years. She's done quite well. You know Jim Catlett?
Nothing.
I'm good. I need to introduce you to Jim.
I know the name. I don't know.
He's the guy who the politicians quietly go to and say, I got a problem, what would you do?
Right.
He's responsible for most of the skyline of downtown Jacksonville. He was the head of the Economic Development Commission before it became the EDC.
Right.
He's one of those quiet kingmaker, mover, shaker guys. He's a good guy to know.
Yeah, well, through Weinstein, I'm on Weinstein's committee. Did you give Weinstein money yet?
Not yet.
Give him
That's
$500.
it's what I need to
Yeah.
discuss today. I want to get a firm outline understanding. I brought my BlackBerry so I can log in the notes of where money needs to go.
Good.
And then we can speak openly
Yep.
about how much needs to go where, not only from a campaign standpoint, but from a public use standpoint.
Yep. And PR standpoint.
That's my point.
Right.
And then understand how those things can come back and benefit.
Why do politicians in general not want to talk to the media?
Why do they not want to talk to the media?
Mm-hmm.
I've never understood that they don't.
Why
There's a reluctance?
I think so. I think it's a huge reluctance by many people. And there's a reluctance on disclosure.
Now, I can understand on city officials not wanting to speak to the media till they know exactly what their counterparts are doing. But I've never known a public official, a commissioner or city councilman, to shy away from the media. I would think they would welcome it.
I would think so too.
Are you talking about the Tallahassee guys?
Just talking in general. There's a lot of guys who don't. I can call them up and ask them a question. They'll say, "Where'd you hear about that? How'd you hear that? How'd you hear that?" You know, the first question is an aggressive question.
Well, they're looking for consensus. They don't want to come out until they're sure they've got consensus.
Why? Now, why is that?
Without
Educate me. Because I'm not a consensus guy.
Yeah, that's why you don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And politicians go in.
Probably what, Bruce?
Politicians go in, and most of their strength is only built on the consensus of those around them.
Right.
It takes multiple votes to get those things.
Right.
You've come out and you've said, "Hey, I'm here for one term, and whatever happens, happens. So I'm not worried about consensus. I'm going to plow ahead with what I think is right,
Yep.
and be with me, be against me, or whatever. But just lead, follow, or get out of the way."
Right.
You don't have that from a career politician. He's needing to see that not only this year, but next year and years after, that he has built such a consensus with the guy next to him, and the guy next to him, and the guy next to him, that this guy's going to get such support on the bills that he's bringing forth, or the objectives on his agenda, that they get support from his fellow legislators.
That's definition. Now, in a legislative environment, see, as far as I'm concerned, like the Northeast Regional Planning Council, I mean, I've shaken that place up to its very core in terms of discussion. If we're going to act regionally, let's really act regionally, and it's not talk regional and do crap.
I saw your name come up in just an email I got from a friend, and it was on the Atlantic Beach issue on Selva Marina Country Club, and them wanting to put residences in there.
Right.
And Matt, I forget his last name. He's one of the attorneys working on the issue.
Right.
Your name was mentioned, and one of the Atlantic Beach commissioners was mentioned.
Yeah, Jamie Fletcher.
Jamie Fletcher. But out of that whole big broad, how many people on the regional council?
30.
Those were the only two names that came up as being mentioned as having something of value, good, bad, or indifferent, to say about it. So it goes back to my point in that because you're not seeking a local second term, you have no need to gather consensus on anything except those matters which you need to have passed for the immediate. You're not looking exactly for consensus, but you're looking for an agreement which is logic-based, as opposed to, let's do it because I want to be elected 2 years from now, or 3 years, or 4 years from now.
Let me tell you,
and that's why people don't get you. That's why they don't understand you.
I am transparent as hell. I can tell you exactly what I'm going to do.
But Tom, you're in an environment that is typically not.
Right.
You are the anomaly in the environment, and that's why people don't get it.
But the reality is that in this county, I control that reality.
And your strength is in that you realize that you control that reality. The other guys are worried about their jobs 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now. You're worried about
I'm worried about their jobs 2 years now, too. But maybe in 2 years I won't control the reality anymore.
Well, you're going to control a different reality if things go the way you want them to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. But right now, and I'm very honest with you all the time, because I really do value your opinion, and I want to go back to a story that I'm using to explain my behavior and see. And Al hasn't heard this either. We have 3 county commissioners up for re-election next year. So the control. Cindy, Rich, and Jim
Bryant.
Right?
Is Jim running again?
Who knows?
Because
he says he's not, but everyone.
Is he making noises like?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's hosting town halls.
To what
He hasn't
end?
done that in 10 years.
To what end?
I don't know. I don't have a strong level of trust in Mr. Black.
Well, now it's in now.
I think that's because of the relationship with Nakating.
I have a good relationship.
I understand that.
But
But yours is more of a fair witness relationship.
mine's more of a what?
A fair witness relationship.
They're asshole buddies from high school.
Whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is an issue-based relationship.
Correct.
And theirs, I don't know where theirs goes.
Yeah, well, over the years, they've been partners and a whole lot of things, apparently, in terms
Okay.
of what's happening in the commission and what's happening in terms of development. for the
But yet I
park.
don't see Jim recusing himself from Nakaty issues.
Yeah, because it's not required under the law.
Oh.
You know, I raised that issue at the Northeast Regional Planning Council, and I got front-page coverage in the Plaquemine News. You know, and I tried to explain to my people. I said, listen, if I have unjust, Mr. Tilden, you know who the Tilden family is. Tilden family is major landowners in Putnam County, and they were major landowners in St. John's and in Flagler. They sold Flagler Estates at 10,000 acres.
Okay.
At one point in time, they owned like 100,000 acres. Maybe they owned 50,000.
So they sold it to ITT?
I guess so. I don't know. And they got 2 miles of common border with my good friend Jared Bender.
Haven't heard that name in a long time.
Oh, I'm busting his chops left and right.
What's he doing?
Well, he's doing that. You know, he's Ascot Development. He's
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that big project in Mariposa and Putnam.
Yeah.
And I've been beating the living crap out of him.
I thought he was going to bail on that.
Well, he's still fighting. He just passed the zoning board in Putnam County yesterday.
Those guys, they're a trip.
They are.
They're a trip and a half.
And I tried to get them to defer it at the Northeast Regional Planning Council
Mhm.
so I could extract money for transportation. Because he and I were having lunch afterwards. And if I had gotten that motion through, I would have gotten $6-7 million for St. Johns County transportation.
They wouldn't defer it.
No, I lost 14-10. Karen Stern voted for it. Don Critchlow, vice mayor. He's going to be in the paper tomorrow.
They don't understand sometimes you got to say no to get to yes.
As I explained to
You
them,
got to say no
they
to
don't
get to
understand.
yes sometimes.
Right. The only power you have is the yes-no power. And it's absolute. We did this whole presentation at the Northeast Regional Planning Council last week about what the scope of the planning county and what the statutory enabling and all this kind of happy horse shit.
That sounds like PZA. Took three hours to go through just the administrative end of things last week.
So I said to him, when we get all done, I said, that's all well and good. But let me explain to each commissioner. Wonderful, thank you.
Another one?
Please, orange juice?
Yeah, I want some more too, please. Let me explain something to you, commissioners, in the most simple language I can. You can say no. There has never been a successful challenge in the state of Florida to a denial of a comp plan amendment. Ever. Isn't that correct, Mr. Peters?
However,
Mm-hmm.
if they say no,
Mm-hmm.
again, that plays back into them not being on that same seat 3-4 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Not understanding that if they say no down the line, the guys are going to come back to them anyway, and they have an opportunity to say yes under different conditions.
Yeah. I agree. It's all negotiation.
And just because you say no doesn't mean you can't say yes later.
Right.
So this Mr. Tilden gets up and gives us a talk. He eliminated 3 minutes. Well, how rude is that, just to start off? We don't have that many public speakers available.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe have 2 immediately. He eliminated 3 minutes. I hate that.
Jacksonville, they recently did it because they've got 80, 90 speakers at any given time, but
Right.
years gone past, it was however long you wanted it,
I
within
think-
reason.
Yeah, I basically, Jim Bryant's always asking me, how am I going to with me 3 minutes? I said, I can't find the clock or something, because I run the public speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the course of this presentation by Mr. Tilden, he says that, you 2 Putnam County commissioners have already ruled on this in Putnam County. So I think it's appropriate, that you recuse yourself from this discussion, from this vote.
Mm-hmm.
While the staff comes down like, attack dogs on this guy. You don't have to do this illegally. Blah, 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 blah. This whole 5-minute discussion goes on. And I'm just sitting there, just like I say, I'm stunned.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? I work for this guy.
It's a simple issue.
Yeah. So I raised my hand. I said, listen, I want to thank Mr. Tilden for coming today and sharing his thoughts with us. And, my own moral compass is pretty simple. The law is the law, and then we have the law of perception. And perception to me is a much more important law than the rule of law. Because we work with Mr. Tilden and other Mr. Tildens. So the compass that I use is that the appearance of impropriety is impropriety.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple, guys.
The 90% rule.
So we end up having about a 2-hour discussion on Mariposa, where I'm beating the hell of them for downstream drainage analysis. I've got expert and competent testimony. I got 4 pages. I mean, I'm just pummeling on transportation and drainage. Mm-hmm. I got pictures of floods. You know me.
Yeah.
Okay. I know, see, what do I need? Expert and competent testimony and basis under the law. Yeah. I can find that.
It's pretty simple.
It is not a hard thing. So I get the drainage portion included in their recommendations. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now the transportation, we're getting butt pissed for transportation in St. Johns County, and all that traffic's coming to us. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's coming.
No,
do not pass go.
Yes.
Go directly to town. And so Larry Parks is there, and they're getting $5.5 million.
What's Larry doing there?
Well, he's a ex officio who just for watch because of the FDOT, and they're getting $5.5 million or $5.7 million for the interchange.
Don't let me forget to tell you recent DOT stuff. Mm-hmm. I want to see if it applies to St. Johns County.
I turn to Larry and I say, with all due respect, how much does it cost to build an interchange? I don't know how much it costs.
Now the answer is 40% more than the developer builds.
Let me say, 150, 200, 250, $5 million is nothing. Zero, nothing.
And
of course, I said, I need the money. And that's why I made the motion to defer. Because if I got the deferral in place,
you get a little money.
I get money.
You get a little money.
Yeah. So now what I'm doing now is I'm bringing the Tildens over. I can't repeat this one. I'm bringing the Tildens over to do a presentation to the commissioners of St. Johns County because it sits right on the border. And the guy they bought the land from owns 2,000 acres over here. Well, so I leaked that story to the paper. It's in the Augustine Record today about how this is, the next developments here.
Well, keep in mind, if you're within, is it 1.5 miles or 2 miles of any county border, you have to adhere to that county's rules and regulations as applies to DRIs and comp plan amendments. So if they are close to your border,
not close, they're on the border.
Well, then they have to adhere to whatever your hurdle rates are.
You got the code?
Pardon me?
Is that Florida statute?
It's Florida.
Where?
I'll get George to pull it. Yeah,
get me the rep.
I get you the rep.
But I don't think George liked Bender too much either.
We went through the same thing in northern Duval County on the Bacardi parcel. They have a parcel that's within 1.5 miles of the Nassau County border. Nassau County has a DRI threshold of 900 units. Right. 998 units. 999. Duval County has 2,900. Right. We were bopping along thinking, hey, this is great. I'm working for Bacardi at this time. We're thinking, this is great. And Prosser Halley gets in and says, fellas, I'm sorry. State law. If you're within 2 miles or 3 miles of the county border, you default to that county's rules and regulations, whichever is greater.
Right. So I can use that as a vehicle to get transportation mitigation?
It depends on the difference between the way St. Johns County DRI thresholds are set up.
I'm getting nothing. Oh, no, it's past the threshold. It's 999. Our thresholds are fast.
Okay, so
it's 2,500 homes, so 3,500.
So you have a say-so.
Yeah, cool.
You have a dog in that hunt.
Yep, we got.
Of course, that was never brought up in the previous.
No, of course not. Yeah, the whole system is geared towards approval. The system is not geared towards questioning or thinking is it in the best interest. It's not. I mean, it has no long-term planning at all.
The thing we have to prevent long-term, by however means we can, is to not allow the conditions that exist today where we're so far behind in transportation, we're so far behind in infrastructure, we can't allow that to repeat itself. And the only way to do it is stand up and say, stop. Stop. We got to catch up. Stop. We got to get the cake before the ice cream. Stop. The infrastructure's got to go in. We got to start getting some logic behind this as opposed to relying on just the residential rooftops, because it's only good to a point. It has a role, but it's not the means all to end all.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about a long time ago.
Sure, absolutely.
Planning and no planning. There is no planning. And then, of course, that's where Tom is trying to establish it now.
I have gone out and I've pissed off Hastings, I've pissed off the Airport Authority, I've pissed off the Mosquito Control District, I've pissed off St. Augustine Beach, and I've pissed off the city of St. Augustine. I've pissed them all off.
I don't hear Duval County yet.
No, I love them.
Good. Great.
They're critical to my plans. That's a different nuance. I was at the sheriff 2 weeks ago. And the sheriff and
Sheriff here or
yeah,
sheriff
here.
up there?
Sheriff. The sheriff and I are gearing for battle. There's no question about it.
On which issue?
On his budget. We have a goddamn, neo-Nazi unit over there, for Christ's sake.
How does the budget system work on those components?
I control the budget.
Right, but I mean, you got sheriff budget. Who else is sheriff-like that has budgets also? That come before you? Okay.
Right? Neil Perry did a great job of building this sheriff depot. So I said to the sheriff, sure. He and I made an agreement that we're going to try and work things out in private. But it would be good to have it in public. And I understand that. So I said, what did you do before you were sheriff? And I knew exactly what he was. I was the police chief of St. Augustine. I said, oh, yeah, I remember that.
Where was he?
Police chief of St. Augustine. I said, oh, yeah, I remember. I said, you know all those guys over there? He says, oh, yeah, I know them all. And I put the procedures in place. I said, did you really? Oh, man, that's really cool. You know the mayor? He says, sure, I know Joe Bowles real well. This is so fucking unbelievable. I'm sitting on, what are you? No. Yeah. I go, why don't you go to the mayor and tell him you want to run the sheriff, the police department?
Part of your consolidation plan.
Right. You run the police department, and they can keep those little blue cars with the nation's oldest city and all that kind of bullshit.
Car 54.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You should have seen his face.
Light went on? No.
These guys are so territorial. See, what I'm trying to do, they don't understand the nuance of my consolidation. That's the real problem.
That surprises me.
I mean, you should do it a microsecond.
A logical person would go, oh, come with me and let's see if we can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
What do you, strip out the nature of the individual that is typically in that role.
Mm-hmm.
What reason could there be for...
Let me finish. Okay? So I go through all that, because what I'm trying to do with each one of these places, my public thing to the paper is I'm trying to do the most cost-effective, most efficient way of delivering high level of services to our citizens. We have numerous duplications. And guys, this is really pretty simple stuff, You got the cost of something, which if you remember in your third grade math was numerator, and then you have who pays for it. The number, that's the denominator. And what you want to do all the time is make the denominator big. That's what you want. You want a big denominator. So I want you to consider outsourcing medical insurance, vehicle maintenance, legal, accounting, to the county. Give me the back office stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you go around and wave your little swords and do whatever the fuck you do. Okay? That pisses them off. I don't wave a little sword. Because I don't care. What the fuck are these guys going to do to me? Nothing.
Well, they shouldn't care either.
Oh, they do. You should, Harris, who's the city manager at St. Augustine, has all these commissioners terrified. None of them want to take on Harris.
Because he's
ingrained, he's been there, and
Go back in history with me.
Now, let me finish. I'm going to finish the story first. So I've been thinking about this when I was on vacation, I think. And the reason I've done this, and the example I'm using now, which I think is pretty effective, and I'd like to get your feedback on it. I lived in a lazy boy chair for 40 years. Wasn't the greatest life, but you know what? I was alive. Then the phone rang. The phone said, "Are you ready for that new heart?" And for that microsecond, I almost said no. Because, Bruce, if I said to you, at 11 o'clock tonight, I'm going to split open your chest, and I'm going to cut out your heart, and I'm going to put a new heart in, and you may or may not survive that. Is that okay?
That's a spooky
right.
proposal.
Death, at that second, became finite.
See,
we all know we're going to die.
It becomes reality, though.
Right.
You get to pick your point in time.
Right. We all know we're going to die. We don't know when we're going to die. We don't know how we're going to die. We all know we're going to die. Finite. And what I realized is that it created an incredible emotional response. There's a wave of emotion. And that's what happens when you talk about change. People's initial reaction is all emotional. So what I've deliberately done is try to get that emotion now out of the way.
Get it out early.
Right. So now I can talk in rationality, so that we can pass our way through the emotion, and now we can talk about that. And I'm going to start this next Tuesday when we have the capital improvement plan, which is now $1.1 billion fucking dollars. Billion.
Where was it 5 years ago?
363, 263. Crazy.
Does the bond capacity exist to handle it?
Of course it does if you have a will.
You know the root of my question, though.
Of course I do. Here's what's going to happen next year if I have my way. I try to do two things. And I haven't really shared this with Al either. I haven't shared this with anybody really. But now I've decided it's time to come out with it, because I'm going to increase the intensity. Everybody's telling me to back off because I got too many people upset. Well, fuck them. You know, now I'm going to go to the rationality of this.
Well, Tom,
so, Sheriff, excuse me, are you telling me that Clay County, who has 16,000 more people than we do, and 16 square miles less of territory, whose budget is half of your budget, are you telling me, excuse me, Mr. Tom Jr., can you pay attention, that those people in Clay County are unsafe? Is that what you're saying, Sheriff? And Mr. Fire Chief, you telling me that Clay County Fire Department can't put out a fire? God, those people better sell those houses, don't you think? I get that one. I mean, you're not going to beat me in the fucking press. Who's going to beat me in the press? Nobody.
To that argument, I can see holes in using the Clay County analogy.
Why? Tell me why.
Hear me out.
I'm ready.
I would think to bolster that Clay County argument, you go back in history to the point in time that Duval County was as large as St. Johns County is today.
Yeah.
And I bet we're going to find, how big is St. Johns County? 350?
170.
170? So that's going to go back to the time before Duval County
68,
was
67.
When it was county and city.
Yep.
So if you go back to that time, create that budget, and then fast forward, index it up, and come up with the number today. And it serves two purposes. Number one, isn't St. Johns County right now very, very similar to where Jacksonville was, city and county divided back in the 60s?
I'll tell you why.
Hear me out.
Good.
I say that because it speaks volumes to your point of wanting to consolidate both city and county. Jacksonville tried 3 times to consolidate city and county. It took them 3 times to get it. It took them either 2 or 3 mayors to get it done. But they finally got it done. So if you create that analogy, I think people are going to be going, you know,
that's a good point.
It could be right. Maybe we have gotten to that point to where we do need to consolidate.
One of the variables that I focused into the model, my model, because the argument under law, counties provide, quote, base level of services, unquote. Municipalities come on top and provide higher level of services. That's the structure of government. And I give speeches where I say that county government is the lowest form of government there is. It's the bottom of the government food chain. Pisses people off all the time. I don't know why.
But it's true.
That's the other true.
It's true.
Population, I think we had this conversation before. City of St. Augustine, 1940, 12,090. Now 12,167. Hastings, 1790. Now 607. St. Augustine Beach, 5,900, roughly flat. So we have less than 18,000 people living under a municipal form of government in St. Johns County. Clay County has the same demographics. The Jacksonville City argument is that you had a larger percentage living under a municipal form of government. Please. You had a larger percentage living under a municipal form of government, and therefore you had a higher expectation of service.
True.
So that's why I picked Clay, because the population stuff, it's right across the river, the size, and the amount of people under municipal form of government. Okay?
You're overthinking this.
Maybe.
You're overthinking the municipal form of government. You're thinking people get the distinction between municipal form of government, and they don't. All they're looking at is size, something that they can emotionally latch onto and say, do we want to be like them or do we want to be like them? What do you aspire to? Do you want to be like Clay County? Or do you want to be, assuming that Duval is perceived as more efficient in their form of county governance, to the degree that the people that you're speaking with perceive that that's a better thing than Clay County, that will help your argument. If it's perceived as being a worse thing, it'll hurt your argument.
Well, it's worthy of analysis. And we'll see, we see how it works.
I think it will.
What I did, if you may remember the first meeting, we put a hiring freeze in place. You know, we're still functioning today. It's amazing. I've been talking to all the administrators, and we're banking money right now. Banking money out of this year's budget.
And services haven't been diminished.
Zero.
We're actually getting, from the developer side, we're getting better services in the little niche that I have to travel through, that little trail I have to run through in the various departments. We're not harmed. We're not harmed. We're not hurt.
Good. And if anyone asks you, I'd like you to say that. That's all.
Yeah.
And let me keep going. So I've got about $18 to $19 million banked on a general fund of $180 million, roughly 10% of it, for next year. Because Tallahassee is going to do something. And I decided, unlike the Florida Association of Counties, and unlike many of my cohorts, not to go to Tallahassee and whine. Take my money.
Give me my money back.
Yeah. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to do what they're going to do. I'm not using anything. I am using that as a vehicle to say we have to start taking care of ourselves. And I'll explain that more in a minute. The second step is that we have in the general fund this year about $25, $26 million worth of capital expenditures. So I want to take all that out of the general fund next year. So now I've got $45 million. Tallahassee, in my opinion, is going to end up a rollback to 2004 as a compromise position. And I think they're going to allow a supermajority of the Board of County Commissioners to make changes or a referendum. And I'm going to be, since I'm probably be the chairman next year, I'm going to be promoting the referendum concept.
Referendum, sure.
This goes back to my speech, which you've heard, is what do you want to do when you grow up? So here are the choices. Transportation. I'm not going to give them a choice on, are we going to build this road? I'm going to give them an A and B on how we're going to pay for it. We can pay for it this way, or we can pay for it this way. How do you want to pay for it first? Let me know, please. And that's my whole plan.
And, you know, if I was given a voice at the table, I would say take the $45 million. I would bond that up as far as I could bond it up. And that forms your pool of funds, and you become self-sufficient at that point.
Hey, got a bird in the house.
Yeah.
We're going to have tolls. We're going to have certain segments with tolls. There's no question.
And that's okay. We've done it in the past.
And we're going to have choices though. If you don't want to pay the toll, which is your, then you can go this. Take 2 hours in traffic.
Yep.
I mean, I had a friend of mine that I was driving up to Orlando from South Florida, and took the Florida Turnpike. Oh, you got to pay all this money on this toll. I said, sure. I said, okay, we'll go home a different way. We'll take I-4 to 95.
And go through. Yeah.
After about half hour, she says, how do we get on that other road? I'll pay the toll.
Yep. In a heartbeat.
Right.
You do it. You go to Savannah. Savannah 8 years ago. They had built the roads 8 years ago for today's traffic.
Right.
So you were on the outskirts of a belt in Savannah. You were on a 6-lane belted highway with maybe 2 cars, 4 cars. But by gosh, it was in, and today they're not paying 300% more for that road that they built 8 years ago. You're smart.
Well, exactly. Well, these are the experiences I've had in places like Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas. They did the infrastructure when there was nothing around. They did it a long time ago, and everything built in, infilled everything. And so all the people there, including county management, are a hell of a lot better off for it. What never happened in St. Johns County.
Well, it's part of planning for the future that there's been it's like there's been a time warp here. And there was a period in the past where people didn't think the future would actually occur.
You know, during the course of the campaign, I looked at things like, long-term strategic plan. What is there? There is none, of course, in the county. But yet I happened to look on the St. Johns County School Board, and guess what? They have a long-term strategic plan that they've had for quite some time.
They're required by law.
Required by law to have a 10-year plan.
How are they doing on concurrency?
Well, I think they're doing okay. I think they're struggling with it. I mean, I don't think Kimmy, this is off the record, is as strong as David. You know, whether you like David or dislike David.
Yeah, David was strong.
David was strong.
I mean, he and I had many, spirited arguments.
And from my perspective, I pass law. They're an advisor. This does not give them veto power.
But the role has been clouded.
I'm not arguing
over the years.
I just said from my perspective.
I understand.
That's my position.
I understand.
Yeah, they hired Nicholas. And,
Nicholas.
Jimmy Nicholas from the University of Florida, impact fee guru.
Don't know.
Okay. Fishkin, Nicholas.
Those are the two guys?
Those are the two guys.
Okay.
Fishkin is normally
the
developer side. Nicholas is normally county government side. Although
okay.
Fishkin will work for anybody who pays him.
True.
And what do you want to say this
Yes.
time?
You want me to change this? No problem.
No problem. All right. So what's the status with your lenders and all that kind of stuff?
Okay. Stop me if I didn't brief you thoroughly last time.
Okay.
And to bring you up to speed from scratch. We sold the residential portion of Twin Creeks in 2005.
Yeah, I think he already knows that.
Late 2005. It was sold to a Greek company by the name of Tusa, who has an American counterpart called Technical Olympic, publicly traded.
Technical Olympic USA.
USA. They got the bright idea that they would not only buy it, and they would also accept our contract, which said you will also pay for all of the off-site impact fees, improvement costs, fair share costs, call them what you will. Somewhere between 70 and 90 million bucks. That was part of their contract. I said, okay, fine. They proceeded to, and this was one of 4 deals throughout the state of Florida with Falcon. The total package was $850 million, and that was financed through a combination of Deutsche Bank, Citi, and 2 land banks. Cardinal Land Bank out of Arizona, and another very small one. Fast forward, housing market starts to get soft. Tusa turns to Deutsche Bank and says, did you do any due diligence on this before you let us borrow the money? And Deutsche Bank says, well, you guys are the buyers. Did you do any due diligence on this? And they're both going, well, we had some guys down at Falcon's office for about 8 months. Let's see what they did. Bottom line is, Tusa filed suit against Deutsche Bank, saying you didn't do enough.
Lender liability.
Lender liability. Deutsche Bank said, we don't think so. We're going to file federal suit and foreclose on you. They filed in the state of New York, and Tusa's suit was thrown out. Deutsche Bank's suit was upheld. It's all public information on the Tusa website. Citigroup or Citicorp. Shearson. Shearson, I'm told. And Tusa are working out an agreement where Tusa may be willing to offer those 2 groups warrants worth 10% of the company in return for coming in and funding, taking out Deutsche Bank, taking out the land bank, and funding everything throughout the state except Twin Creeks and one small deal in Orlando. And that's to settle the Deutsche Bank suit. I don't know what noises. I think it's preliminary in the discussions with those groups, and I don't know anybody within those groups, so I'm not getting any intelligence whatsoever. The plan for Twin Creeks is a separate company, again Tusa funded, again with warrants of up to between 10 and 20% to the same lender to come in and form a separate company under Tusa to go in and do the Twin Creeks thing the way they were supposed to do it. Internally, the game plan is, if they proceed with this, Art will give them a buyback guarantee of the retail and the light industrial. That helps them fund with whoever they're going to fund with. So that's where we are today.
And what's the expectation of time frame?
Time frame, 2 things. There's the reality, there's a perception, and then there's what Art thinks.
There's three things.
Yes, true. Art, in discussion with Art 2 weeks ago, George and I went down.
Right.
And Art's saying, we get it done end of May, middle of June, done deal. No problem, we'll take it. Then they take it, but they got to pay for it up. The lawyers down there, George is not party to that, but the lawyers down there, the word we get, Kinsey. Kinsey came, he did all of Falcon's deals from day one, went out on his own, and started developing land. And doing a good job and selling stuff back to Falcon, and did very well with it. When Twin Creeks came up from the acquisition sale and the other assets came up in Florida for acquisition sale to Tusa, Kinsey came back into Falcon to handle that disposition. Kinsey thinks August, September is probably realistic to get it papered up. I'm looking at having two boards, two funding boards, and you know this better than I do, having to go through the value of the warrants of two companies. The Tusa company for the three assets in other parts of Florida, and the Tusa company for the Twin Creeks side of things. Evaluate all of that, get it papered up, do the back and forth with the land banks, because understand, Deutsche Bank participated us out to 35 different institutions, land banks and other lenders. Right? Yes. So given all that, I'm saying we're going to be lucky to see it by December. And I think that's realistic. I really do. I don't think they're going to want it to flow into the next year. So I'm looking for the first part of December.
Is there anything that the commission can do to make this, if I become a prick, does that help you or not?
I don't know if, I think the thing that helps...
with the lenders I'm talking about.
I need your guidance.
Diminished value.
Yes, I need your guidance on that. I heard you loud and clear before where you said, hey, I can write a letter to the lenders. Bruce, you and I can join together. We can go together. We can sit with these lenders and say, you guys are so screwed. You don't know it. That's a possibility. I got to think through that scenario.
And talk to Art and your boys and Kinsey, and I'm perfectly happy to go do that. Put my nice little Armani suit on and my Gucci shoes.
You're going back home.
Yes, right. So I have no problem doing it.
You know that territory.
So, if that's beneficial to you and to the county, that's what I want to do, obviously.
You need to help me think through that because my mind has not gone to that level yet.
Well, what I'm saying to you is that you got a Deutsche Bank that's syndicated to 35 banks. You'll probably find out who those syndications are. And a lot of those guys are unhappy.
They're not getting paid.
They're not getting paid. They bought the deal. They wanted to put it in a drawer, and they wanted to go back and play golf. Now they have to take the fucking thing out, and they got to look at it. Same speech I gave you yesterday. And they got to get lawyers, and they're spending money, and they're not getting any money, and they're not happy. Most of those guys end up selling cheaper. And if we can make the perception that it's worth less, because the county is going to take away the entitlements, well, then it becomes worth a lot less. And we got to figure out if that's in the best interest.
We got to know what card to play.
Right. And what I was trying to say to you last time was I'm prepared to do that. Okay? And I've got other investors who've already approached me. I can probably put together the deal to fund the whole fucking thing and take them both out.
Well, then we need seriously to sit on that and talk on that.
Because I've got
we need to make time, because if we can control those relationships more so than a once removed third party, it makes more sense. If you let me
tell you how my core feeling. My core feeling is you're approved. Okay? Now we'll test this. I have done nothing backwards in time. Period. So consequently, I want to see you succeed. Not your failure to succeed is problematic for me. So therefore, whatever I can do to help you succeed, I'm going to do. And that's pretty simple. So let's noodle that. Well, I have had people approach me, who are interested. I've got vulture funds. I've got a lot of funds. I've got a lot of guys who will go bottom fishing.
Well, we need to set up time next week to
next week I'm in Tallahassee.
Following week to game plan that out and understand those components and how to put them into motion. Because I don't want to go into this not having a really solid game plan. I don't want to go into it with only one player. I don't trust Shearson. I don't trust City. once it gets in those giants corporations, we lose control.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we lose control of the thing, and nobody wants to do that. The county doesn't want to do that. We're okay on the deal.
Well, you're a contract. You're my contract partner.
Yes.
And what you did downstream, that's your fucking problem. You know, and the harsh reality of life.
Yep.
And I look to you.
And yep.
And I can, if we, I think, get enough smart people in a room and define, you know, who the players are, and get a sense of where they're coming from, I think we can go put a little divide and conquer plan in place.
And that way we all get what we need.
Right.
Yep. I agree with that.
And we got 9 months.
Yes. The other practical issue we've got coming up is the commission's going to start getting more pressure. They're already getting pressure on the turn motions under 95, getting on...
That's what I want to do. I want you and George and I to figure out how you're going to give me control of the PM traffic on 95 and 210.
PM traffic. On the off-ramp side? The off-ramp side is motioning ahead. The issue that we're battling right now, and we think we've got that cleared, is that Army Corps was holding us up. They were holding everybody up. They've got linear mitigation. It's a term they use for mitigation that occurs outside the basin that it's in. This particular reviewer that we had up until yesterday did not like linear mitigation, refused to allow us to proceed using linear mitigation, therefore requiring us to go to Tupelo Land Bank, which has no more credits left because DOT bought all the credits for 9A.
I have credits.
And I bought credits.
I got credits too.
Yeah, I bought some credits. I bought a little saddle club from Karen Chappelle.
I've got a huge amount of credits right in the middle of the St. John's Water Management District. I have the highest value credit possible. And they're uplands and wetlands.
Okay. So we can tap into some of that.
What I want to do, when I get back, I want to go to meet with Al, you, Daryl, George, and me. And I want the county to get control of that. So regardless of what happens with Twin Creeks, I can move that forward.
You'll be able to move it forward.
We just got to figure out how we can do that.
Yeah, right? The engineering is pretty much on the shelf, almost completed.
Right.
You know, from the lines on the paper.
When I say control, I want to own it. I want to carve it out.
I understand.
Okay, so we have to figure out how to do that.
It shouldn't be too hard to do.
I don't think it should be. And then I'll help you with the 210 and Route 1 shit and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the overpass, you know, that's a simple DOT issue. They came in, I don't know if you were there, Al, they had the meeting a month ago or so, public meeting, and said, this is our best recommendation. It's $34 million. It's an overpass. It's phase 1 overpass. It allows us to go in and build it. The thing we have to do...
Have you driven the Mayport flyover?
Oh, yeah.
Why can't we do the same thing?
Yeah, that's really what it looks like, except you'll have a straight component in addition to a curved component. That's what it looks like. All that for the small price of $34 million. Figure that out. We did find a way, also going back to helping you control, you need to tell me how to play this. We've come up with a way. Right now we're about 85% engineered on this. We've come up with a way where JEA will not need to buy right away through condemnation for their path that they wanted to take along 210. We found a way to route them through a friendly neighbor on the west side of 95, up Twin Creek's west side, and bring it back in. Therefore, they can avoid...
Aren't you adjacent to the county utility system?
There's an agreement between JEA and county utilities. County utilities, they're sunk without the agreement with JEA. JEA needs piping system running from US 1 going west to 95. They were looking at buying. We were going to donate right away to them within Twin Creeks.
Yeah, I don't want to give that up, though. I don't want JEA to have that.
I understand. And that's why I'm saying we've got to figure out how best to play this. Because right now we've got an 80-85% engineering possibility, and it's probably going to be a reality that JEA can cut in along Russell Sampson Road right away, come through a friend's property on Russell Sampson, go underneath 95, and pop out on Twin Creek side. Therefore, no condemnation proceedings are going to be necessary.
Have a line running up US 1? Don't we have a line running up?
You do. We've also donated for that. But that doesn't solve the problem. They've got to get west to the Buckman plant facility.
Is that feasible?
Yes.
It's just money.
It's money.
Yeah. Well, I want to expand the utility.
Well, utility needs to be expanded,
Yeah.
and that's
it's
part.
Economy of scale business.
Yeah, and that's part and parcel of doing this. But I bring it up because it's a bone, and we need to figure out on whose, doggy house doorstep it needs to land, because it's a big bone.
Oh no, I want the bone.
It's a big one.
Two things I need is the PM, control of PM on 95 and 210, and the utilities bone.
The thing we have to be careful of on 995 and 210 is, again, going back to the public perception issue.
See, here's what I'm planning on doing. I understand what you're saying. I'm planning on entering an interlocal agreement with the JTA to take over that project for me. They issue bonds, they build roads, they do things that I don't do. All right? When I started this all out back in, actually right after the primary, I was going to develop a transportational roadmap. And that's moving along. And it far exceeds the roadmap that you've seen from the FDOT. And I've got the commissioner from Nassau on board, the commissioner from Clay on board, myself on board, the mayor on board, Blaylock on board, Hinson on board, and we're almost all done. And the Shands Bridge is the inner beltway. And it's not a half a beltway. It's the entire motherfucking beltway. And what I'm doing is getting Nassau, Duval, Clay, and St. John's to protect the corridors. And there's a Florida statute that allows me right now, if the Board of County Commissioners agrees, to adopt the map, protect the corridor, and then have the comp plan amendment follow that. So that's all in process right now.
So keep that train of thought of Board of County Commissioners approval.
Yeah.
And pick a county. It doesn't matter. How do we gerrymander? How do we ensure ourselves that we can get that vote done? And also, going back to what's near and dear to my heart, is once we take the off-ramp, and it's somewhere between $6 and $7 million. It's not a big deal. Once we take that out of the Twin Creeks purview and put it into the TMA, let's call it, Transportation Management Authority purview, how do we keep that perception from spiraling out of the next meeting on Twin Creeks when we come for the NOPC for the overpass, and we come for an NOPC because we've now got 285 jobs to bring to the county? How do we ensure ourselves that we can get the vote? No, I got to ask.
That's why you pay me the big bucks.
I understand. I understand. Those are the details we've got to get into.
That's why I got to get what I got to get.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have no problems.
Yeah.
And I would not be pushing the NOPC change on 1 and 210 right now. I'd push the positive stuff, the jobs.
Oh, that's what we want.
Yeah, we start with that.
I want to come in for the jobs.
And I want the PR stuff with Kathy Brown and the Arts Council. I want to build this constituency of following.
And those are the details. Hold on, let me write this down.
Well, first we're going to talk about Weinstein, campaign to elect Mike Weinstein.
Yep,
He's running for Kravitz's seat. Kravitz is termed out.
Okay, we'll go to Monday notes.
You know who Mike is. You know Mike.
Yes. Okay, we got Weinstein.
Campaign to elect Mike Weinstein. Weinstein.
How much?
As much as you can. You do whatever you can do.
Okay.
Okay. And you can do some now and some later.
Okay.
What I'm trying to do is build a war chest so no one enters the fray. Okay.
Got it. Next one.
Mike will move immediately into leadership in Tallahassee. Immediately. Mike's campaign to elect. These are the guys I'm running with. Tom Petway, Wayne Weaver, John Thrasher, Tony Crawford, and me. Right? Very nice company for me.
Petway's very good company.
Very nice company.
Petway's, he's a good fella.
It's been very nice to me so far.
He's a good
because
fella.
Mike and I was Mike's strategic advisor for 2 years.
At what point in time did Mike recognize that his true role needed to morph to Tallahassee instead of just beating heads locally?
After we had breakfast at Gail Evans.
Okay.
And then I was able to go to Harry Payton and said, listen, I just had breakfast with Mike. He's going to drop out of John's race because we don't want to have any disruptions in Jacksonville politics. And you're going to support him for the seat. And I hope support him.
Yeah.
And so is Roger,
well, that makes sense.
And so is Joe, and I got everybody on board.
That makes sense.
Because I need leadership in Tallahassee. What I've learned from my legislative delegation is that we have no leadership. We don't have anybody who cares about St. Johns County. Period. Zero. Nobody.
No, it's the tip end. You're right.
So I have to, now I have Mike. I got to wait till Mike gets there in 08. And he and I are really good friends. Our styles are completely different professionally. But strategically and content-wise, we're an absolute agreement. So campaign like Mike wants to. Then we have to orchestrate, and I'll get the record to put you in good light. With the Council on Aging, get the picture of Kathy Brown. I'm going to be proposing to the Board of County Commissioners a 2-for-1 match program for the Council on Aging. The county will give $2 for the dollar they raise for this new building that they need desperately.
And how much should we give to Kathy?
Well, you said you agreed to 100. You make it 100 and a half.
100 and a half.
Whatever. You talk to Kathy. Just go down and meet her. You want Kathy has control of the largest constituency of St. Johns County, and they vote most often. You want to be Kathy's really good friend.
Yep.
Okay? You want to go down there and say, listen, I'm here to help. Phil McDaniel for the Council on the cultural stuff. Help out with that building in St. Augustine Beach. They need $750. Put $50 grand towards it. Something like that.
What do they need now?
We have that WPA building that's on the beach.
By the pier?
By the pier.
Right.
It was a $2 million total project. Phil's got $1,350,000 already done.
Right.
He was hoping to get some state funds, but it looks like he's going to be too far down the line.
Okay.
Well, we'll make a nice donation.
Okay.
We'll a nice picture taken with the St. Augustine Beach people.
Okay.
All right. Phil. The second biggest constituency in the county is actually the arts community. A number of people who are involved in arts. And we're doing an Arts After program. Phil was over in Tallahassee, and the guy who's sponsoring the PE bill for education. And now he's including dance classes as part of his PE.
That's smart.
That was all Phil.
That's smart.
Phil did all that.
I like Phil. Phil's an active guy.
Phil's a very good guy.
And he serves.
He serves, and he has a following. Okay? And what we have to do is show your public face, that's all. And then I can buy you time. Because, I can keep that on where they need to be. Cindy, I never know where she's going to be. So, and I don't think Jim's going to be a problem for you, is it? I mean, you deal with Jim directly.
I deal with him, but I never have been able to get a close read on him. I always, when I meet with Jim has an agenda. And it's not one that he's willing to put forth. He wants others to go do his bidding. Jim will not sit and say, Bruce, like you'll sit. Say, Bruce, I'm going to do this, this, and this if you'll do this, this, and this. He'll say, Bruce, you need to go do this. Yeah, you need to go do this. Okay. I never get a clear read from him.
I don't know either.
And I think that's because of his ties to Roger.
Yeah,
I really do. Cindy, I agree with you. I don't know how to work with Ben, and I don't know how to work with Ron Shoemaker?
Ron
Sanchez. I don't know how to work with Ron Sanchez.
You support the arts, you support the senior citizens, you'll get Ron. Ron's Mr. Arts in St. Johns County. We put him in that role with the amphitheater.
Okay.
And the reason Gunther was here is I leaked the amphitheater, Lucker sued us.
There's even a blurb on that up in Duval.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
He's not suing, he's threatening us. So my comments are, I'm not surprised, but I believe that any potential lawsuit is clearly without merit, and we will be looking at our legal remedies.
Well, the blurb in Duval was all positive. It mentioned nothing about a suit. It just said, this is kind of a rational thing to do. It makes sense.
Oh, for us?
For you, yeah.
No, but listen, the papers, I don't think we can manage the press any better than we're managing the press.
No, the paper was very positive about that. It said very good things about it.
Yeah. No,
it was like, the voice of reason won for change. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, Lucker sat on the committee that created this monster. So I have a whole investigative thing going on right now. I'm going to sue him for self-dealing. I'm going to sue him for the fucking cost of the amphitheater, $9 million.
There you go.
Yeah. And who's got deeper pockets, me or him?
Guess what?
Yeah, don't fuck with me.
Guess what?
I'm a government. I'm here to help. And that's the harsh reality.
How do we work with Ben? Ben is a person that
Just go to Ben.
you're responsible for Ben.
Right,
You created Ben.
Go to Ben.
He's your Frankenstein.
Yeah. Go to Ben. And just say you're working with the Godfather. That's all you gotta say.
Okay.
Yeah. You see him do that. We'll go to meetings and he'll sit there and he'll go. Because we have this little routine that we do when we're bored.
Yeah.
I'll meet with somebody, and then they'll go meet with Ben later. And Ben will say, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that." And he goes through this whole little routine. And then he'll put his head down the table. He's just totally whipped. I mean, we did this with everybody. We did it with Devlin. We've done it with, these guys have no idea how to do this. Put his head down the table and go, "So, what'd the Godfather say?" The Godfather can fix this. Go to the Godfather.
I would love to have a picture with Ben with his head on the table and Wally going.
Oh, it's funny as hell.
Wally's so funny. He's hilarious.
He's done a good job.
He has.
Yep.
I've worked with Wally for a long time, and I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah.
He's fun to
He's still
work
a little
with.
too bureaucratic for me.
Is he?
Yeah. I mean, he's still out of government.
He's what?
He's out of government. He is a government person. I mean, I went up.
This is true. But I
went up and beat him up the other day.
Yeah?
Just because I had never beaten him up before.
Did he recognize you'd been beat up?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we got Phil.
Phil and Kathy are the real two that I want
Okay.
to be concerned about. Kathy is critical. Call up Kathy now. Say you and I had lunch or breakfast, whatever.
Right.
And I suggest you give her a call and go down and say, "Listen, I understand Tom's going to try and get a 2-for-1 match. I want to get a big splash going to help you here. I'll give you $150K.
Okay.
How are we going to handle all the PR? I need you PRing with me."
Right.
And make her the face of it.
Okay.
Because she's got a huge following. Kathy's afraid to use her influence. But she has the most influence of anybody in terms of the ability.
I've never
to
met
move
her.
votes.
I
Well,
don't
you
know.
got to meet her.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
She's an alphabet.
She's a what?
Alphabet. She takes 10 cents and makes it $1.
Yeah. She's got a good following. You know, I mean, the people. I'm saying.
Well, I put her up for Secretary of Urban Affairs. Unfortunately, she didn't get it.
Who got it?
I don't know. Somebody. So far, I've not been impressed with Tallahassee.
I've never been to sit in on any of the sessions. I don't know the mood or the temperament of what takes place over there.
I mean, President Bush just turned down Florida for a national hurricane catastrophe fund, saying the right thing, which is that's private sector stuff.
Right.
The fact that we as a state are pandering for home insurance is such a ridiculous.
Yeah, I just got my little citizens bill last night saying you're paying a little more, about 6.5%. Well, that's okay.
Why is Citizens even in the business? If you choose to live in a high-risk area, someone will insure you.
And you should find that person because, again, it goes back to something you said. We all need to be self-sufficient in these scenarios.
Yep.
And in being self-sufficient, it means that you're either going to have enough money in the bank to replace your house,
or you don't.
And you're willing to live with that no matter what happens.
It's like Summer Haven. We're going to have a lot of issues on Summer Haven.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the elevation of Summer Haven dictates that it's one of the first to go.
Yep.
I mean, honest to gosh.
And the state saw that in '78 and gave the county the road.
Yeah. There you go.
The county smartly said, "Oh, sure, we'll take the road."
Let's put it right next to the beach. Okay, that works.
Yeah. Millions of dollars we poured into that stuff. So I'm getting ready to cut it off. I don't care if it goes sooner.
No, I mean, again, saying no is the easiest way to get to yes.
Oh yeah.
That's the deal.
So the transportation stuff's moving along nicely. I think in another month I'll be able to show you and give you some feedback.
Okay.
Because there's 4 copies of this map, and it's in my trunk. Because I don't want anybody to see it yet.
Yeah. In meeting with DOT yesterday, we're meeting on a small project in Duval, and there is a requirement now for any projects that are adjacent to a DOT road or a DOT SIS road, a feeder road of DOT.
SIS, right?
For DOT to be included at the table with the city or the county when it comes time to divide up any concurrency and or impact fees. For those counties or municipalities that don't have that mechanism in place right now, DOT is working use Duval as an example, on a couple of fronts. One is to find a way to undo the habit that's been created, which says Duval County gets to say how and where impact fees and concurrency fees are spent, whether they're spent near your project or someplace else within the county, indicating that there's going to be another mouth to feed, that being DOT, with limited, very limited concurrency fair share dollars. So know that DOT, if they're not already on your doorstep, they're going to be on your doorstep, asking you and saying, here's the ordinance, for a place at the table when it comes time to collecting, let's say, the off-site impact fees for Twin Creeks.
The way I'm planning on handling that, just so you know, is the CIE, capital improvement element. And my plan is to, I want 2 items on there. Period. That's all. If you're not on that list, I'll see you when you're ready.
I'm saying DOT is going to want to start taking part of the money, and thankfully a lot of your projects are either on DOT or close enough to DOT roads where you're already suffering through some of that process now. But understand they're going to be putting more pressure on you to have a bigger seat at the table to say how and where the money that you're receiving is going to be spent on transportation. It's coming.
Yeah, I know that.
So,
no question.
Be prepared.
And since the new secretary is so, couldn't believe they named that daughter of John Costellopoulos.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He's a very powerful guy in Clay County. He controls the municipal bond market and put himself in a great spot. Bradley, his partner, is now is named commissioner of Clay County, and his daughter is named the Secretary of Transportation.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. These guys are just unbelievable. I mean, I have great difficulty in many times just being civil because there's a total disregard of the voter. I mean, it's all a bunch of...
the amount of nepotism that goes on, it's huge. If people knew, if people understood truly what transpires at that level, it's freaky. But it goes back to the guy in this seat wanting that guy's consensus, so they're both there 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 years from now. It's fascinating to me how much effort is put into preserving a public official seat, how much effort that official puts into that, as opposed to governing.
Oh, listen, you run for Congress, as soon as you get elected, you're running again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you're not running because of anything other than somebody wants to unseat you. So therefore, you have no time to govern. You've got to keep your job.
Yeah.
If you don't keep your job, the 10% of the time you're devoting to governing, it goes out the door. We need term limits, seriously. I mean, we need a mandatory term limit. You're out no matter what. See you later. Bye-bye.
I agree with that.
It's just, we got to have it.
Now, the counter argument that I get forced on me all the time is, well, then you're empowering bureaucracy because you're putting institutional knowledge in the hands of the bureaucrats. And do you really want to do that, Tom?
I don't understand that analogy.
The bureaucracy of government. If you have term limits, you don't have the history residing in the legislature, for example. You have the history residing in the executors, in the bureaucracy of government. And there's some logic to that too.
So there is. So you have some fiefdoms.
I think the pluses. Yeah, I think the pluses far outweigh the negatives.
If we could find a way to allow our elected officials, both in perception and reality, to spend more time governing than they do staying in the seat.
So why do you think in St. Johns County we've been able to break a paradigm, basically? Because you had Ben Rich run with no money. You had Ron and I run with no money. So the way I characterize it, once is an accident. Twice is a trend. Next year in 08, we'll see if, it's a coincidence. Next year in 08, we'll find out if it's a trend or not. I mean, we've really taken money out of the equation to a large degree in St. Johns County.
I think you've got a combination of perfect storm, and it needs to be looked at in other counties or other elections. Perfect storm in St. Johns County for reasons that are probably the developer's fault for not being PR oriented as they should be. The population of St. Johns County, and probably similar counties to St. John's, are saying We don't want development. Developers don't do anything. They're bad, they're evil, and they're the reason I'm sitting in traffic for 2 hours. When reality is, without developers, your tax base is going to be pretty low, and the infrastructure needs are going to outstrip your tax ability. You're not going to be able to pay it without raising taxes. You're not going to like that either. Developers' fault for just doing their business in part and not doing it totally. So that's one thing. Second thing is you have the logic that says we're not happy with the way the budget process has gone. And we're not comfortable in that all this money that we're seeing on the budget, we're not comfortable with the way it's being spent. Whether these people that were responsible for developing that budget and implementing the budget 4 years ago were good or bad or did good or bad things for us, we want to change. That's the second perfect storm. Third perfect storm is very few people resist the temptation of saying, you know, I think we can make it better, as opposed to knowing what the existing thing is. The converse to that is the analogy you used in the chair. You had to think long and hard about whether to make it better, hopefully, or stay in the chair. The converse is true with a lot of the people in St. Augustine and St. Johns County. They're going, if we change, it's going to be better. So you had that three positive momentums going for you. Whether it's a trend or not is going to depend upon the next go-round and whether we see that trend developing. It'd be a refreshing trend to take money out of the equation. It would change things so much. It would improve things so much. To run on the issues and run on the merits of the individual that are going in instead of how many lines and how many square inches they get.
Well, the media plays an important role, obviously.
They do. I mean, if I had it my way, presidential election would be 3 debates and, you know,
no TV ads. Get back on the train and go talk to people.
Thank you. You each have $3 million to go do what you're going to do, and we'll see you in November. Bye-bye.
Yep. And go out there and knock on doors.
That is the only balanced way to level the playing field.
And obviously it's never going to happen because they don't have power.
I mean, how much money do our two parties spend annually to elect or unseat a president? I mean, what could we do with that money?
Lots of things we do. That's the current estimate for the campaign is $1 billion between both of them.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
We can do a lot. We can do a bunch with $1 billion.
Powers are an aphrodisiac.
Yep. Okay, I owe you a meeting 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
We can sit down.
Yeah,
I will. Let me have your contact info out.
Yeah,
or George knows how to reach you, doesn't he?
I'll give it to you anyway. Okay. Cell phone is 699.
Hold on one second.
Right here. No.
Give him a card.
You got a card?
Oh.
Yeah, I do.
Excellent.
But, yeah, and we'll just go over a couple of these things. Get George to email me that legislation. A 1.5 mile rule in Mariposa.
I will do that today.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's 699 is my cell phone direct. So.
Abatello. I lived next to an Abatello in Melbourne, Florida, growing up.
Okay. I don't know anybody down there.
Al and Lonnie Abatello. Yeah.
Okay. I'll be there.
So when we go over to Punch Video, I take Al with me. I say he's the consigliere. He's from the Chicago family. He got here early. Make sure everything was okay. You need something, you talk to Al.
You talk to Al. Call Al.
It'd be my pleasure to be of service. But understand, Bruce, there will become a time when I will be calling the Prime Minister. This request will not be denied. Are we clear here, Bruce?
We are clear, Tom.
Good. So we play that up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I have coffee, you know. Do you see my coffee? You haven't seen my coffee. Have you seen my coffee yet?
Oh, yeah.
Cafe Don Manuel from Costa Rica.
Where'd you get that from?
Some company there.
Yeah.
So I go to see the sheriff. I go see the sheriff. I say, yeah, Sheriff, you would honor my family. Would you accept this token of my respect from the family plantation? And I hand it to him. He doesn't know I'm a fucking kid.
He didn't know what to do.
He knows what to do. He's going to sit out there, bang his public safety. And I'm out there banging, well, those who forsake liberty in the name of safety end up with neither liberty nor safety.
Where did the county wind up with their, was it emergency communication?
Yeah, we got a grant. We're gonna put the rest of the money in. Because we got to get it to a more centralized one.
Yeah, and they were struggling over what radio system used or what?
Al used to work for Motorola, so Al's kind of spearheading that for me.
Yeah, we're working with the county and the fire department on the radio system, trying to bring it along so that they can come up with a convincing argument to the county in order to get the damn thing funded.
Yeah,
so that's probably going to be next year.
Yeah, I'd heard bits and pieces. Yeah, I left that discussion about 6 months ago, and I figured they'd figure it out.
The system is currently under design now by a consultant, and that'll be another 9 months before that's complete. In the meantime, we're laying groundwork on trying to get public education to the public.
But you can help steer him in the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so that's come along.
Yep.
The EOC, that's what we got the funding.
Yeah, we got a grant for half of it. So
that's absolutely necessary to have in a safe area that won't be flooded and we got to work in. That's on track. Question is funding, and so that comes up.
Well, we just built a big dome on top of part of the Twin Creeks.
On the amphitheater.
On top of the amphitheater.
That's it. The amphitheater. What do you think's going to happen when the first twang?
Yeah, you know where that's going.
Yeah, we'll be closing that place.
Takes about 15 minutes. If the phone lines could handle the volume.
That's what I told the sheriff. Your switchboard won't be Christmas proof.
Be ready.
Yeah. Well, the closest house is like 140 feet. I mean, I did a narrative for the newspaper. So what I figured out with the newspapers, you just got to give them the story, you got to give them the people to call, you got to give them the phone number.
Oh, sure.
You got to give them all the content. You just let them write it. I have nothing to do on writing the story. We beat the airport up. Every week I have a new story coming out.
There's a venue in Jacksonville Beach. It sits on the east side of the river.
Right.
It's just a little nightclub, and they have some bands and whatnot. About 3,000 feet away is the nearest house.
Right.
But I swear, at nighttime when the music's on, it's like being from here to you.
Right.
It carries.
So I sit on the TDC board,
What's TDC?
Tourist Development Council.
Okay.
And they pass a resolution that they can find no statutory authority for the TDC funds to be used for the amphitheater. So now the amphitheater's in the budget. I said, not only that, you're going to pay for the golf course. Anything that has to do with any one tourist, you're paying for. I want the bathrooms done, you're paying for bathrooms.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah, you're paying for beach walkovers.
Why shouldn't they?
Absolutely. Why? Because the city of St. Louis... Did I even tell you this story?
No.
Every business, you look at the source and application of funds. Where's the money come from and where do we spend it? That's kind of where you start. So I'm trying to do the source. So I call up Dennis Hollingsworth, our dear tax collector, constitutional officer. I'm a constitutional officer. And say, I need to know where that money comes from. Well, we can't tell you that. You can't tell me that. Well, it's a violation of privacy. We can't tell you who it's coming from. That's private business. We're protected under the law. I said, wow, you got an address? He says, yeah. I said, you have a zip code in that address? He said, sure. I said, well, give it to me by zip code. I don't really give a crap if it comes from Bruce or Al or Tom. I just want to know where it comes from.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Can't do that. That's the law. Well, that pissed me off. You know me. I have the phone. I go look at the law. I call Patrick, come in here. We write the letter. I get a ruling from the Department of Revenue.
Come home.
I give it back to him. I get my numbers. Give me a frickin' break.
They're looking for insulation.
City of St. Augustine has dominated the county politics.
They're looking for insulation.
And that has been cut. They don't dominate the political scene anymore.
They don't know what to do.
And they have no freaking idea what to do.
Thank you.
And what to do with me. They have no concept. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I'm a cheap date, so $10. What was it, $10?
Maybe. Maybe.
Can we have some hot coffee too, please?
Hot coffee?
Yeah.
No rush, Vincente.
So they have no concept. And the county's big.
You've got to go back and, in many aspects, retrain or undo habits that have been born and developed over long periods of inattention.
Yeah, well, see, all that TDC money has been spent in St. Augustine.
Sure it has.
And our print ads, we do $3 million worth of print ads. Print ads suck.
I remember you saying that last meeting.
Yeah, $3 million of print ads. That's
a lot of
I'm
print.
cutting that in half.
That's a lot of print.
And I've already told them I want an economic impact study on tourism, and I want all the advertising out to bid. I control the purse strings.
It wasn't bid?
Huh.
Where did it go?
It got bid a couple of years ago. Now it's it's laissez-faire. Now, what do we have in terms of tourist assets that are truly unique? From my perspective, we have three things. We have the nation's oldest city. We have, gosh, we're sitting in it. The only golf hall of fame in the country.
Yep.
We got two only things. Oh, and we have the Tournament Players Club, the Players Club. So we have three tourist attractions that no one else can lay claim to. All right? They did a study that said that we have to promote beaches. So all of our things talks about beaches.
You see, we have 900 and how many miles of beaches in the state of Florida?
Where are the best beaches? Bernardine. I'm going to take a leak. I'll be back. No, unless you have to go.
No, I'm good till 3 o'clock today. I don't understand, how I can see it, but I don't understand how inattention can be allowed to compound. And we find ourselves in the position that we're in today with so many things to fix.
Right.
So many needs.
Right. Well, this whole thing has been going on for, now, the good old boys for how many years? 100?
Forever.
100 years.
Forever.
St. Clair County. And I think, beyond, and that's really where it all comes from. Okay, because they're all, they don't want to face the hard issues. They don't want to make the decisions. In fact, I don't think they have the intellectual capital or the thought processes to really think about planning, okay, and what do we want to do, where do we want to go in the future. And everyone was, in my opinion, sitting self-serving and thinking small, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that appeals to me with Tom is the fact that he thinks large. And in fact, Dennis Hastner, who's Deputy Majority Leader in Tallahassee, we met with him. I met with him a couple of weeks ago concerning the charter, and his statement was that, Tom is such a breath of fresh air. I mean, he's actually not political at all, but yet he's direct and he's looking to do the right thing. And we need more guys like him in government, Mr. Hastner.
Thank you, sir.
Now, so,
Vincente, thank you.
Well, I think to a large degree, while Ben was a breath of fresh air in terms of doing things for the general public, for the public good, Tom is an absolute catalyst that brought, I think, the majority together. In fact, Sanchez is showing a whole lot of independence of thought that he didn't show before during the course of his campaign, and he gets pissed off now and then himself, and he's showing a much different side of leadership. So I think, Tom's demeanor and the way he's going about getting things done are getting these people, the majority, to come along. In fact, to some degree, Stevenson is coming along also.
Al, I worry, though. I worry about Ben. We know Tom's gone, so you and I can talk about this. I worry about Tom's ability to control Ben and to control Ron. Because we need 3 out of 5 to do anything.
Right.
They're wild cards unless, I've got faith in Tom. I do.
Right.
Don't misunderstand that.
Right.
But I'm concerned about how he can control those guys and make them see that the long-term right decision is better than the soundbite of saying no to the developer. It sounds no for the moment, but if you say no to this particular developer, you're leaving, $70 million, $90 million of improvements to go by the wayside because we've already been paid. I've already collected my $850 million. And that property makes a nice tree farm.
Yeah.
It pays taxes and gives us about $300,000 of cash flow.
Right.
I don't want that to happen, but that's the next conversation with Tom is, Tom, how can you, we've got to control these guys.
Yeah, well, I believe the control can be had, okay, in a very positive way, and that they will see what is the overall good for the St. Johns County way, and I think they will see that, as compared to just absolutely digging in their heels and saying no way. Because, even though they've given that logic and the argument that they are anti-developer, the fact is I don't believe they are. They just want to want control the growth and have it be done in a more orderly time frame. So they're just definitely not anti-growth. I think they know for sure that growth or development is the engine, the economic engine for Florida. It's just including St. Johns County. They just have to have the infrastructure is a key issue.
Infrastructure is enormously key. And that's my concern. I mean, I don't live in the county.
Right.
I live in Atlantic Beach. But it concerns me when I see the potential of we were talking about infrastructure.
Sure.
And the ability to get Ben and Ron to not be lured into the attractiveness of the media soundbite for the short-term feel-good, as opposed to make the good long-term decision to allow the gaps in the infrastructure to be made up. To give the county a chance to get that back. I mean, I can see it. We're so close. We're so on the cusp.
Okay, let's deal in reality. The reality is that's all done. The families met before and the turf was carved.
Before this meeting, the family was, got it.
Right? And the key issue, as long as the Comigos stand strong, we'll be fine. So, Ben's chairman for that reason. You know that. I know that.
Did you ever tell Al the funny story about the one that it was more of the plan coming in? Tom and I met, and it was about putting Ben in the chairmanship.
Oh yeah. I know that. Best place to manage him. The difficult best.
But it is.
He's calming down. He bought a blue jacket and gray socks. He's starting to look good.
He's no longer white suit?
No.
I'm going to miss Sonny Crockett.
That's right. Hey. Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, that's another one.
On Friday night in my casino, we used to play with the owner. At 9 o'clock, I would deal blackjack every Friday night. And I would make this brown bounce in a full white suit. Everything white. And we go out and we play. I mean, I had George Carlin and Harry Belafonte still owes me $35,000. Got his marker somewhere.
Is he still alive?
Yeah. He's black actors. And we used to have so much fun. If you had big tits and you were a pretty girl, I'd go 27. That's a winner. And then Mandy Campo, who was my pit boss, would go, no. And pull the chips back. And I'd go like this. Okay? And all the heads would go like this. And I'd say to Mandy, who's that? He says, that's the owner. I said, who's this? He goes, you're the owner. I go, that's a winner. We had this routine down. Oh, boy, it was fun. It was absolutely unbelievably funny. George Carlin, one night for about 3 hours, we playing. Had this packed table.
He impresses me as just a very mentally clever guy.
Quick.
Yeah.
We had this banter going back and forth. I said, you shuffle the goddamn cards. I'm tired. You want to play, you shuffle. Because you never Vegas, you never get to touch the cards.
Yeah.
Did all these crazy things. It was really funny. Absolutely.
You ever hear from him?
No.
No?
I never noticed that. I had Governor Edwards there. He played a lot, before he went to jail. And
what did he wind up in jail for?
Oh, graphs. Good stuff.
Yeah.
From Louisiana.
That guy. Okay. Got it.
Phyllis George, John White Brown, Gabriel Hasselhoff, Morgan Fairchild, Steve Jones. Who was the guy, the football player that from Cornell won the Heisman Trophy and played a little bit in the NFL and then became was on Hill Street Blues. God, I can't remember his name. He used to hang with me all the time. Because it's a beautiful place. St. Martin's gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, how'd it make out in Andrew?
But they're fine.
Yeah.
I got my wife wanted to sell. We sold everything in the 90s. My oldest son says, "God, Dad, why'd you sell that?
Yeah.
I could be down there running that now." Getting laid every night. It was like fantasy land. It really was.
You know what I haven't understood is in Costa Rica, I don't see hardly any gambling venues there. There's a little bit around
The
San
only
Jose.
Costa Rica gambling you have is the offshore haven for the internet. Antigua, Costa Rica.
Oh, that's the houses for the gambling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Internet.
Okay.
Antigua, it's $1 billion market.
It's $1 billion market?
Yep.
Wow. Now, a couple of years back, I think I read the U.S. was getting antsy on taxation
They are.
on
They
that.
just arrested some guy about that. I mean, they're trying to crack down on it, but the reality is it's a hard crackdown. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
And people like to gamble.
Yeah, how can you administrate that?
And this, Christ, we're in the gambling business. I bought a ticket this morning. For a new car.
New car?
Yeah, $5, won a new car. And the drawing is April 15th, and that's my birthday. I said, wow,
Coming up?
it's going to be my birthday present.
Coming
I'm
up?
going to win a new car.
Sounds good.
I think I lost a ticket right now. I lost the winner, bro. Anyway, how I do it?
The car will go and claim.
Oh, it's too funny.
It'd be like George the other day looking for his cell phone. And, you know, it's one
How
of
am I doing with George? George is, I don't know. I haven't. George has a lot of clients that I interact with, and most of the clients, I would say all the clients, we get along.
Well, he's got me. He's got Wally.
Yeah, he's got Vernon.
Vernon.
Yeah.
Vernon told me a great story about the new relationship that they've got on the hotel.
Oh yeah, with the Irish guys.
Yeah.
I'm totally in that.
He said that's great.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, that's a good deal.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Those guys have money.
Oh, big time.
I'd like to tap into that for some projects.
Well, I know them well.
You do?
I meet with them. I've met with them 2 or 3 times already.
You may appreciate an intro.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
I have your mobile number as 608-6724.
That's the one. Hasn't changed. Is that one of the Nextel phones?
No, this is the Palm
Okay. Got it.
650.
This one's not doing it anymore. It's just too much of a weenie phone.
I appreciate that. It's kind of
It is.
there,
It's just.
No,
Yeah, he's got Vernon.
I keep telling George.
He's got Paul Fletcher.
Right. And Paul wrote
You
me
and Paul
a
get along
incredible
great.
note he wrote me.
You and I get along well.
Yeah.
You and Wally get along well.
Right.
So
So I say to George, I say, I really like it. I'd like to include you in closer with some of my thoughts, but I'm not sure I can trust you yet.
he mentioned that, Tom,
Right.
and I think that bothered him.
Why did it bother him?
Well, you got to understand, you're a literal thinker.
Right.
When you're thinking, you'll verbalize it
Right.
to help you formulate your thoughts
Right.
and get the feedback because that helps you formulate the
Right.
thoughts.
And that's why I need certain people to bounce thoughts off.
Exactly. And George is the kind of guy when you say, George, I need your confidence on this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking. He'll keep the confidence.
Really? Okay. See, I don't have the experience with it.
Yeah.
What I need him to do is to say that.
Yeah. He's the consummate lawyer.
That's fine. I like George.
Yeah,
I've always liked George. I think he's a smart guy.
He's got good mental skills. He has excellent mental skills. George compartmentalizes things better than anybody that I've seen in a very long time. And he keeps them all straight. I mean, he absolutely keeps them all straight. And that allows him to focus when he's on a mission. He's with a client on a deal. It allows him to focus on. Who were we with?
You should have called Mike Clark this morning.
Like who?
Clark.
Okay.
And tell him that I read his editorial this morning, and that on May 15th, Joanne Kern, who is the head of Open Government, is going to be doing the presentation to the Board of County Commissioners at my request, and he may want to be there.
What was her name? Joanne?
Joanne Kern.
K-E-R-N?
I think it's K-R-R-I-N or E-N or something like that. Just say it fast, they'll figure it out.
All right.
We were with one of your county employees. And we were talking about the history of Twin Creeks to bring him up to speed. And at that time, George reminded that employee that John Avatius walked in with a checkbook and said, how much money do you want? We'll write the check today. This was 2 years ago.
Right.
I had forgotten all about that. But
Right.
George remembered that.
Yeah.
He remembered that aspect.
He's got good sense.
He really does. He's got a fine sense, and he's got a good balance about him, too.
I really like George. I really do. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a smart guy. I think he wants to see good things happen.
He does.
And,
he has a good heart
and I'd
for
really
the
like,
county. He really does.
I'd like to pull him more in and show him more stuff. I mean, I'm working on so much stuff. This is freaking crazy. You know, next week I'm off to Tallahassee. I got a Clay County Commissioner with me. I got a councilman from Jacksonville with me. You know, I'm not going there as a dirtball little fucking St. John's.
How's the new council makeup? They had a couple new council people go in.
Yeah, well, Daniel Davis could be the new president. That's all I care.
Daniel's good.
Yeah, good guy.
Daniel's good.
He's had a baby.
Yep.
He wrote him a little note.
Yeah.
I'll go buy him a U.S. Savings Fund. He was the first one contributor to his college fund.
Yep. That's the deal.
Yeah. And he's brought it to the plant. So he's ready to spearhead it with the mayor's office. The mayor's brought it to the plant.
I see Daniel going way, way far.
Well, Daniel wants to be mayor.
Yeah, that's where I see him.
That's where his position is.
2 terms from now?
Yeah, I think so. He and Hyde, I think, are the 2 guys who are going to...
Who is that?
Hyde.
Oh, Kevin Hyde.
Yeah. I think those are the 2 people who are going to try and position themselves.
Kevin's perceived as having brains.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting some good press up in Jacksonville.
No, I think he's reasonably good. And of course, Elaine's going to run for Davis's seat.
Elaine Brown?
Yeah. I'm happy with that. Elaine sometimes does that consensus with the other chair stuff more than I like.
Fascinating thing to watch about Duval County. I don't know, Al, if you've ever sit through any of their council meetings.
Never.
There's so many of them that they don't have time.
14 plus 5.
Yeah, they don't have time to get caught in the mousetrap that a smaller council or commission does.
Right.
You know, it's got to be business, and it's just
Plus they have
boom, 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 boom.
There are a lot of subcommittees.
A lot of subcommittees.
See, we don't have that luxury.
When you're on council, man, you're there. Let me tell you, it's a full-time job. It's absolutely full-time. You can't do it part-time. I talked to Lake Ray the other day. His father and my father-in-law were in business together for years and built an engineering company.
One of my buddies now, Lake and I are buddies.
Lake's a good guy.
Yeah,
Lake's a good guy. What's he going to do? He's terming out. Yeah. He helped us a bunch on that Kendalltown Center
Yeah,
thing.
but the nice thing about the guys who are terming out, they buy into the vision.
Well, they fought the fight.
Right.
They understand it.
I mean, what's happening at the NPO is I've been setting up my speeches, you know, about we can't wait for the white knight. We have to take control of our own destiny. You know, we have the capabilities in this room, all that kind of crap. You know, the empowerment speeches. And of course, Baldwin, you know, the FDOT district secretary, he comes in, oh, they're cutting my budget $500 million. I'm going, oh, this fits right in the plan. Oh, that's so sad. I feel so bad.
People don't realize that in confusion rests the greatest opportunity.
Unbelievable.
That's the time where you can go in and do the most good.
I got done at the last MPO meeting. Lake Ray came up to me and said, I'm with you. It's kind of what you need me to do. It's nice.
It's the old chaos theory, and you get that.
Yep.
You understand the chaos theory better than anybody that I've run across. In that, in chaos lies opportunity. Lies opportunity.
Yep.
Just got to keep your eyes open.
So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting 2 years.
Yep. How's Thrasher doing over in Tallahassee?
Oh, he's a monster. I mean, he is the consummate lobbyist. You know,
always going, always pushing.
Always going, always pushing.
Yeah.
Does a great job for his clients.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm meeting with him next week too. And, you know, Weinstein sets me up because Thrasher and he are buddies, and we're both on the elect Mike Weinstein campaign. So Weinstein set me up with Jim Horn and Thrasher.
Explain to me, totally off the record, explain to me what Ron was trying to accomplish when he was taking pot shots at Jim King. Or was that just Ron just being Ron?
Ron's right.
I understand that. But there's a time to be right. There's a time...
What the fuck is the guy doing for me? Nothing.
I understand that.
He's rude. He's arrogant.
But do you want to call him to task
Absolutely.
right now?
I do. Why?
This is the time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why isn't it the time? Proctor. I'm going to put Proctor's name in the... I mean, Proctor is a jerk.
You got to picture me, though. You're on vacation. You're in Vegas. I'm sitting there listening to this going on, and I'm going, oh, my God.
So what?
Not so what? I'm sitting there thinking you got crap coming your way.
What crap?
I don't know. That's the problem.
My position with Tallahassee is real simple. You're going to do what you're going to do. And I got to do what I got to do.
I understand that.
All right?
But I'm sitting here listening to a commissioner take shots at a senior Tallahassee bureaucrat.
Right.
And I'm going, oh, Jesus.
But the reality is, they don't do shit for us.
I understand
What can they do to hurt us? Nothing. They're already hurting as much as they can.
As long as you understand that,
Right.
and you do,
Right.
then fine. But I
am using Tallahassee as the consolidating vehicle. Unite against the common enemy.
I understand that, but
Right.
Picture me when he's saying this,
Yeah,
and
I loved it.
and I'm going, oh shit, George tells me Tom's in Vegas.
Yeah. Tom couldn't have scripted it any better.
I didn't know if he had just gone
Oh,
jihad.
yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did go jihad. It wasn't pre-planned. He was pissed.
I was freaking. I mean, seriously, I was freaking.
He was
out.
pissed.
I was just
No,
going,
he was pissed, rightfully so.
rightfully
and,
so.
part
What
of
we do, the three of us do all the time, we work for you. We work for you.
Yep.
You're our boss. We work for you. I mean, we say that all the time. And you know what? I go out and give speeches around the county, and 99% is so freaking positive, Bruce. It's unbelievable. We have never had a bad article in the paper.
never, no.
Never.
And I doubt you'll see one.
Weinstein says to me, he says, you manage the press better than anybody I've ever seen. He says, I've never seen so much St. John's coverage.
Yeah.
He said, that's because we give them stories.
Yeah,
we do the right thing.
Well, you
And then
give
we
them the names, you
articulate
give them
them.
the numbers.
Right.
You make it easy for them to write.
I think, general population.
Did you hear my speech when I did the Sunshine speech? You never heard that speech.
I heard a small sunshine speech.
The one after the Bash Ben Day.
Toward the end.
At the end,
Yes,
I
yes.
gave a summation speech.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good. I'm Mr. Sunshine.
Yeah, right. And the newspaper just loves him. In fact, I told Tom, I said, when did you start sleeping with Margaret?
You could call me Sonny.
I mean, she bashes Ben in one paragraph and then loves him in the
Sonny,
other.
calm down, Sonny.
Call me Sonny. Everybody's told me, you think I should calm down today? I think I got him on the run a little bit.
I don't think calming down is the right phrase to use if somebody's trying to redirect your efforts.
Right.
Part of your success, part of your strength, is that through whatever means necessary, you make people think.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not making people think, then you're part of the status quo. You're part of what will be perceived as a problem 10 years from now. So if somebody's trying to get you to calm down, it's because they're either not A, in line with the program, B, they don't have the mental capacity to understand it, or C, they don't have the vision that if we all calm down, that 10 years from now we're going to be sitting here talking about the same thing.
Right. See, this is what I feel. Like a lot of the legislators, they support something, but they're not advocates. So unless you are an advocate of something, with strong advocacy, and stay on point, you will never get a frickin' thing done. Because the system is geared not to do things.
You have to pick the three main messages and stay on point.
Yeah.
Most people
Transportation, economic development, conservation.
And most people can only absorb 3 issues when you're talking to them. That's about the most their brains can accommodate. So if you pick the 3 points and surround...
Tuesday, I'm introducing a capital allocation strategy versus this committee that meets and does it in a very subjective way. I want to bring an object methodology to it.
Meaning?
How we decide how to spend capital. Capital allocation.
Capital allocation.
What we did, I don't know if you watched this on recreation, which is a very emotional issue, obviously. What I did is I had the northeast, northwest, St. Augustine. I drew a 5-mile circle, 10-mile circle. I factored in the populations from the schools, so I knew how big the potential market was. And I got all the numbers from the athletic associations and how many soccer players and how many baseball players and how many football players. And then I put next to it how many fields there were, and I created a ratio of soccer players per field. So there were X number of soccer players and Y number and Z.
Right.
It becomes very clear where to put the money.
Yes.
Well, you got 60 soccer players here, you got 160 here, you got 230 here. Where's the money?
Guess what? Guess what?
Where would you put it?
230. Here we go.
Took all the emotion out of it. And that's what I'm trying. You haven't heard my blood test speech. I give a speech called the blood test. I take new speeches every once in a while. A lot of people come listen to me. And the blood, the doctor takes your blood. What the heck does he do with that blood? Well, he runs things like, he checks your LDLs, your HDLs, your triglycerides, your cholesterol, your triglycerides, your potassium, and he checks all these things. And if they're in range, everybody's happy. But when they get out of range, you go, let's take a little closer look here. And say, no. And that's what I'm trying to do with the county. I want the county administrator to do a blood test every quarter, and he hands us the results of that blood test by department. So we can look, and if they're in range of the metrics that we've predetermined, life is good. But when it gets outside that range, Cousin Brucey, what's going on here?
Have you got them to
people understand that when I articulate that way.
Have you got them to the point where they're ready to accept a zero-based budgeting philosophy?
Not really.
Okay.
I had Al sit in with me yesterday on one of my training programs. That's the best word I can use.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're really not sophisticated in the level of thinking. You think? What do you think of this?
Well, it's good. I mean, you're right. They're not sophisticated enough because they haven't had the leadership to be thinking differently. Now they're thinking differently, and they will come back with what you asked for, and
here's a project we're going to do. There's a little piece of funding over there, and a little piece of funding over there, a little one over there. So it's 600,000 there, 1.1 there, 2.2 over here. There's no point to say this costs $4 million, and we're paying for it this way. I said, I can't look this way. I got to know what it is. I got to know where the money's coming from, and I want to know.
Help me draw the line.
And what I'm doing, what I'm going to do as my main metric for capital allocation is how many people does it benefit.
Okay.
If you have something that benefits 10 people, and Al has something that benefits 20 people, I'm doing Al's first. And that's the metric I'm going to use.
Mm-hmm. They can grasp that.
One would think. I've given you the macro metric on the residents per employee and all that kind of stuff. I got a lot of numbers going.
Yeah, they can grasp that.
Yeah. It's something that's easy in the paper.
Yeah. At some
point. In 2001, we had 175 residents per county employee. And you would think with technology that number would go up. But guess what? It's 142 today. So what's happened?
Yeah.
And everybody can... What I try to do is take things that are pretty complex and explain them in a way that whether you get a third grade education or a graduate degree,
it can be grasped. Right. In 10 seconds they can get it.
Right, the ham story.
It's a 10-3-30 rule. 10% of the people read the first 3 paragraphs of anything 30% of the time. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to get at least 10% of the people, you got to nail it in the first 3 paragraphs because it's not going any further.
Interesting. So what else do you think I should be doing?
I'd keep going. Mm-hmm. The next genesis I see for county budgeting is get them to a zero-based budget.
That's what I'm
where
doing. April 26th I start that.
Yeah, they justify each position and build it from there. And the results are surprising. Tallahassee, you seem to have that wired fine. You get the people in place. The troops. Yep. You're putting the troops. The chess pieces are going in place. Media we talked about. You got that. I'd like to see more coverage up in Duval.
Well, I'm doing the best I can with the Times-Union. I think we're getting decent coverage.
I don't understand why they don't cover more. There's an interest, and Times-Union has a following.
Oh, sure. We're their fastest growing market.
Yeah, but I don't understand. When I open the paper in the morning, I get literally, an inch or two by an inch or two.
Right.
And that's usually out of the police report.
Yeah, that's true. Once in a while, we get an editorial once every 2 weeks.
There's good things going on down here, but I think to help capitalize and increase your momentum on a different area, on a different level, it'd be nice to see some more exposure up there.
Yeah, see, the real issue for me going forward, I think, especially on this mega transportation, I think is what I'm talking about. And basically, over the next 2 months, I'm going to introduce the whole argument of, gee, why is the private sector doing this? Why do you think they're doing it, Bruce?
Further question.
At some point, someone's going to say, because they make money.
Yep, further question.
And I'm going to say, wow, that's right. So why do we make the money?
See, I see you having 2 years to educate the people you're going to... It's like George wrote a letter today.
Right.
We've got a mini lawsuit, not yet, but probably one coming on a small piece of property.
Right.
The attorney that the other guy picked, George knows him. He's not a real thorough or very well educated attorney. So George is having to educate this guy in contract law and why his client's position is flawed. You're tasked with the same thing. You're having to educate and spend a lot of time educating folks for good reason on things they need to be educated on. You got probably about 2 years to do that, but then you got to start increasing the PR, the representation, the press has got...
Here's the issue, okay? The question is whether I drive it or do I let Daniel Davis drive it? Or do I mean, Duval is my 800-pound gorilla.
Yes.
Okay?
For now.
We're the 800-pound gorilla.
For
the
now.
foreseeable future.
For the moment.
Okay. And I'm driving all this transportation stuff, regionally. There's really not much doubt about that at this point. And my next meeting is with Blaylock and his investment bank. Because I'm going to lay out the financing plan to the investment bank. And I'm hoping he'll go Pax Nabisco.
Yep.
And if we get the, go in peace speech, then I'll have Blaylock. Because, what I want to do is change the name to the First Coast Regional Transportation Authority. I want to expand the borders to the MPO borders. And the first steps of that are interlocal agreements between Nassau and the JTA and St. John's and the JTA. That's my first step on that 3-year strategy. I briefed Daniel Davis on what I was doing. And he's 100% behind it. Do I let him drive it?
Letting him drive it is fine, but you got to be mindful. I suggest you both be mindful of the fact that the driving force behind the person that's perceived as driving every now and then has to have a little push, continued pushes in the paper, continued pushes in the public venue to reassure the person that is taking the public face of it that, hey, the guy that's behind me, he's got the juice, and he still has the juice, and 2 years from now he still has the juice. And if we're going to take this to the next level, to the state level, if we're really going to be successful there, you've got to start getting more press up in Duval County. If you're going to be successful in morphing from here to the state, I know you don't want to, but I'm saying if you're going to be successful in doing that, or if you're going to be successful in the guys that you put in position to do that, for them to be successful, you've got to have the exposure up where your 800-pound gorilla is. Because it's got to be more of a regional acknowledgement.
But I have exposure with all the major behind-the-scenes political players in Duval.
But there's such a thing as being too much behind the scenes. Because at some point in time, you're going to have to throw a card on the table. And that card has got to be embraced by not only the players that are behind the scenes and the players that are in the scenes, but some of the population that's up there, because the people you are maneuvering, putting in place to do these things, they have to feel that they have their residents behind them. And the only way they can do that is from time to time, if those residents see more of the ilk of Manuel Petway, the ilk of Manuel Weinstein, the ilk of Manuel Payton in that venue. So they get to understand the name, they associate the name, and it becomes an automatic, oh yeah. It's like when you hear, Petway's name. You don't see anybody going,
no.
Everybody's going, yeah. Okay, I'm on board.
It's a lot to do.
It is. And for you to continue being the guy that is the guy behind the guys that are behind the scenes, you got to be able to give them that reassurance that the juice is still there. And it will be there. So, yeah, more exposure up there from time to time. So,
yeah, my problem is I definitely have some of the legislators attacking me.
My advice is don't be so far behind the scenes and so far under the radar screen that somebody can make you disappear. Because remember, distance creates amnesia sometimes. And as those guys move up and move beyond, they've got to understand that you're just not the guy here in this little cubicle. You know, you're not just that guy. And to do that, you know, the PR machine's got to move up. That's my advice.
No, I agree. I think it's good.
Well, I'll tell you what, Adam Hansner is a good friend of yours.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He's excellent. Couldn't speak any higher than he did. But we need more people like
Well,
you.
we're working hard with the leadership people, not the sheep people.
Right.
I mean, that's why Mike is so important. To the whole, not to me, but the whole Northeast Florida. I mean, I don't think we're getting terrific representation. What I say is that, we're being managed by South Florida.
And that's true, and we have been for years, and it goes back to breaking those old habits. But we want to make sure that the distance philosophy doesn't catch up with us when Mike goes over to Tallahassee. Keep in mind, there are powers that are huge in Tallahassee. There are temptations that are huge in Tallahassee, and Mike wants to keep his job. We've got to make those temptations be counterbalanced by the fear, the threat, the attraction, the allure of the guy that's sitting in this little cube right here, being just as powerful and just as attractive as those countermanding forces from South Florida are.
I'm going over to Tallahassee next week. I'm bringing the Clay County Commissioner and the councilman from Jacksonville with me this week. A regional. And I'm downplaying the fact that I'm a St. Johns County Commissioner. And I'm upplaying the fact that I'm the chairman of the NPL legislative delegation. And I'm going to talk about purely regional transportation issues.
That's the type of stuff.
And I'm going to see the department, the new secretary. And I've got staff as well as leadership.
And then as far as jumping into those that have controlled us historically, there's going to come a point in time where you got to get into the middle of South Florida. You got to get in the middle of it. Because the guys...
Hasner is my key to that, though.
I understand that. But I'm saying he can't do it alone because the guy sitting next to the chair in him in Tallahassee has got another agenda, maybe not the same. Hasner's got to know that you have some pull, some sway, some force, some strings that allow you to help him fight battles that are going to be coming from South Florida. Left to his own up there, he's going to do better knowing that you've got his back in South Florida. Because if we leave those guys to their own devices, they're going to be subject to those pressures, and those pressures are very, very large.
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, I was planning just to go to Tallahassee twice this session, first year.
You can't do it. You got to go more. You got to go more.
Just sit in the audience or go talk? Or...
They've got to see your face.
All right.
It's either I or Daniel Blanchard, my business partner up here. We go to every council meeting, every PZA meeting, every meeting that we can have our faces seen at, even if it's just somebody nods at us. We want them to see our faces. Same thing with city council in Duval County. Same thing with city staff in Duval County. Every chance, every opportunity we have to be seen or to help or to do a favor for. City of Jacksonville has a lawsuit against them right now. We're an adjacent landowner. We were co-joined just because we're adjacent landowners. Their attorney is a junior attorney. So guess who my attorney is? It's George. He's not junior. So George is going to City of Jacksonville and saying, hey, my client said, I can spend some time with you. Let us help you. It's the same philosophy in Tallahassee. Let you help them. Let me help you, coining your phrase, let me help you to help yourself.
I gave a speech on affordable housing that has no vote, which is the three legs of affordable housing, three components: land, construction, and financing. And all of those are manageable if you have the will. And Hasner wants me to go speak to the affordable housing committee, whatever the hell it's called. Should I do that or not? I don't know if that's a place, I'm not sure I want to be in that affordable housing segment.
You don't want to be pigeonholed by that. Don't let anybody put you or limit you to one particular segment. It's like somebody getting to be known just for comedy roles in movies or action roles in movies.
In your opinion, should I, this session, just stay focused as the chairman of the legislative delegation of the MPO and just stay focused on transportation?
It seems to be the biggest and best.
That's what I think.
And at the same time, I mean, just as you brought Al today to assist, maybe you bring somebody with you that says, I'm going to stay focused on the MPO, and I'm not your best guy for affordable housing. I can help you there, and I can help you best by this person working with you. And I'll help this person work with you.
Bill Lazar. Yeah. I got to find some. It comes down to time, too, Everything comes down to time.
It is time.
And how you allocate.
That's the biggest common denominator. How much time do we have to get this stuff done?
Yeah, and how many fronts can I have? I mean, I basically pretty much, in terms of county stuff, abdicated. It's only once in a while that I try to come nudge it one way or another, like the hiring authorities, snuck that in.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned fronts, and that's a good thing. I'm fighting fronts. I'm on many fronts right now. I need the Twin Creeks front to be put to bed. I need that to settle down. Because
we need to be calm until we get more data.
Yeah.
And who's putting pressure on? You said people putting pressure on.
Let's see. We will get pressure from transportation because they're fearing that they're going to get pressure from commission because transportation's fearing because of the mishaps that they had with the turning motion, in the AM turning motion, and the police they had. They're thinking the citizens are going to uproar, and the advice we're getting from transportation is let none of us be caught in neutral. Let none of us be caught doing nothing. So their reach out to me was, let's get the IMR started. Let's get that so when council comes back, when commission comes back and says, what are we doing? We can say, we've got the IMR started for the intersection. That's going to tell us by November what we can and cannot do at the intersection in terms of turning movements, in terms of land we need to buy, in terms of the off-ramps, the on-ramps, in terms of the clover loops that we need to design. Without the IMR, we go nowhere. Nobody goes nowhere.
So
I go nowhere. You go nowhere.
What's the status of it? Where is it?
I got to start it. I've got to authorize it to start.
And are you going to do that?
It's sensible. I posed it to Art. I said, Art, if we don't start the IMR, nobody has a starting point. And if we're going to maintain our momentum and to give the guys that are on our side the tools they need to support us, we gotta do this IMR. It's got to be done. We stopped we were in the middle of the IMR when DOT came up with their grand plan for the overpass on 210 and US 1, which went from the county's $9 million to from our budget of $18 million, which we upped, thinking the county, time has passed, maybe they left out a few things, to $90 million. So we went, stop! And we threw all of our engineering capabilities, including traffic engineering, into fixing that overpass issue. It took us a year with DOT. And the one stellar thing we got out of that for the entire state was that because that one little issue on on US 1 and 210, DOT now has the ability to phase projects where they couldn't phase before, even though it's been earmarked, even though there's a state mandate on it. They can phase it so a developer or a county can come in and do a first phase and still not disrupt that earmark. For them, that was huge because their hands were tied before. They had no way, once an earmark was placed, they said, we're screwed. Their advice to me before having that earmark discussion and having that landmark decision based.
Federal earmark or state earmark?
Both. It was both, because FHWA was involved. Their advice to me before that was done was, Bruce, whenever you see an earmark, run. Run, because we're screwed, and downstream, you're screwed.
Now, that was a statute change, or? policy change? Or?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll find out for you.
That would be interesting to know. Especially as I layer. See, what I'm doing is layering my financing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there's two of them. One is real simple. It's a GO bond.
Yes. And they are simple.
The other one is the first level of financing comes from the toll revenues. And there's a second level, there's all this mezzanine levels that I've got built in there with the SI, infrastructural bank, gas tax, all that kind of crap. And maybe equity contributions. I mean, one of the things I'm thinking about is have each county who's a participant get an equity participation based upon the amount of money they put in the deal.
And it goes back to the old, let's create a vessel.
Right.
And this is what we were trying to do with Twin Creeks. We wanted, the vision is to create a vessel that not only they can receive our money, but other developers' money as we go forward. And that money can be held in a pool to be used as needed. Mm-hmm. But, early on that didn't get any traction with the commission. Mm-hmm. Said, no, we don't want your money.
Weingarten out of
Realty?
Yeah.
I know the name. I've never worked with them.
You know anything about it, whether they're real or not real?
Weingarten, I'd have to look at their capitalization, their recent capitalization.
Right.
They've been active
Yep.
in the deal. They've been in the past good underwriters and good supporters. It'd be easy to get into their information and see what they've been doing and where they're going.
Oh, they're coming here. Had a couple of conversations with them already.
Yeah.
On commercial stuff.
Yeah.
Commercial stuff is coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, no, we're...
Tomorrow I'm meeting with two Fortune 50 companies.
That's up there.
Yeah. Unbelievable, actually.
Well, that's what the hell we got preaching fighting for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, but
Phase A, earmark.
Good.
What we can do without electronics, huh?
Takes the pace of a notepad.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Trying to decipher notes.
Yeah, I just put a couple of blurbs in there, and it forces me to remember more rather than rely on a notepad. Much more.
That's always there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It doesn't get stained or rained on, or it's always there.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very peaceful here.
It is.
It's a good place to meet.
It's good. It's quiet. Yeah, I like World Golf. They've done a nice job with this hotel.
Yeah, they were just right too soon.
Yeah.
It's like anything else. If you're right too soon, it saves me wrong.
Yeah, they were preliminary. Well, Jim was out ahead of himself when he did the whole thing. I mean, he suffered for a while.
He had Hillman behind him. He wasn't suffering too hard. Hillman's a long-term player.
Well, he didn't get Hillman until later, though.
Right.
He brought Hillman in right at the juncture where he was on the brink.
Mm-hmm.
And Hillman came in, and it was a good relationship from that point forward.
I used to finance the Hillman.
Did you?
Henry Hillman was sat on our board for a long time.
He's quite a story.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, quite a story.
Carlisle, Cruz, Hillman. Unbelievable.
Yep.
That's a different perspective that I bring too. So
You can reach out and touch a lot of people.
Yeah.
Most guys have the ability to reach out and touch, a circle this big.
Mm-hmm.
You reach out and touch a circle this big commercially, and equally you can reach out and touch a circle that big, governmentally. So, get the PR, get the press, give the guys you're putting in place the good, warm, comfortable feeling that you not only got their back, but you're down there leading the charge against the guys that could cause them trouble and could give them grief and cause them to compromise what would otherwise be their initiative with you. The last thing you want to have happen is for them to come back and say, Tom, I'm sorry, I couldn't fight the battle. They got me.
I mean, some of the stuff I'm doing is so big, Bruce, that it just may be overwhelming.
They're not going to get it.
the size of it may be overwhelming.
They're not going to get it.
And that's the risk, especially on this.
No, it's not the risk, it's the reality.
Risk reality.
Yeah, it's the reality. But, you know, the government typically thinks in small bites.
And I think the DOT is going to get pissed at me once I unveil my alternative plan to their plan.
I don't know, they're in such chaos right now, Tom. I think they're
totally invested in this privatization concept.
I still think they're in enough chaos to where there's opportunity there for clear leadership to come in and say, guys, come on, this is really the way we do this. We don't do it that way. That way may sound good, but we don't do it that way. We do it this way. This is the way we're really making it happen. I'm happy to sit and talk with Jim and talk with Larry and whoever else you need to talk with. I get along better with Jim than I do with Larry. Larry doesn't know quite what to make of me.
I have no idea. He's mad at me.
You know, James I get along with.
Yeah, but James is, you know, but right now I got to drive this from a higher level.
I mean, Baldwin's my key.
I was going to say, what's Charlie doing?
Well, he hasn't seen the plan, but he sits at the NPO, and I think he's smart enough to realize the evolution of comment. And when he laid out the $500 million decrease in District 2 funding.
Was it Denver or Dallas? What was his name? Statler?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, DOT Tallahassee?
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Okay. Because he left.
Now, Custom-Open-Up-a-Dip-a-Dip.
Yeah. But I'm wondering what he's doing now, because he's a guy that got it also. He understood big picture stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'll find it. That's a good question. I'll do that.
His brother works for Sembler in land acquisition. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Off we go.
You have anything for me?
No. I'm probably running you tomorrow. You going to be down to the office tomorrow?
I don't know, maybe.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Nothing really critical. I can't wait. Okay,
Thank
Bruce,
you, sir.
good.
Thank
Finally
you very much. Good to meet you, Al.
Again soon.
Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Saeed.
Pleasure.
A million thank yous.
Thank you.
I'll get your card, Al. Yeah, he's doing the 17,000 acres, and then he's got something on Esplanade today.
But that's more important? Making money is more important? tell him he can't make money without me.
Thank you. I don't understand why they don't include a commissioner in some of those meetings. All of my meetings, I have a meeting every Monday morning with my entire staff.
Right.
And we talk about all of our projects and all the stuff and all the obstacles they have.
Right.
I've never understood why a commissioner is not invited to sit in those meetings, or a councilman is invited to sit in those meetings, so they can understand stuff from the developer's perspective, because it helps them plan long range, long term.
I agree with you. So why don't you do it?
I will. I will absolutely do it.
It's within your sphere of influence. I can get a kiss.
Yes, I can do that. Bye. I'm going. See you. Bye now. Meeting ended 11:27. World Golf Village, Al Abatella, Abarita, and Tom Manuel.